Welcome back to Elissa podcast. And today I've got Fiona Lambert. Now, I don't mind saying that I am a huge fan of Fiona. Ever since the day I met her, she came to an event that I collaborated with another brand. And I just got a vibe from this woman. As she sat here right now and she's probably getting all bashful. But we're going to get right into who Fiona Lambert is and why I'm such a big fan of her. Hi, Fiona.
Hello. You're making me blush, Elissa.
No, I think we should start with your incredible career, because when I met you, I thought, wow, that woman is super stylish. You just looked incredible. And I was like, God, she's just so... I remember you had on this like fairy Barolo in a lovely deep burgundy colour and a lovely burgundy dress. And I could just see her looking at me under her glasses. And I was just like, wow, who is this woman? She's amazing. And anyway, then I learned a bit more about you. I was like, wow, she absolutely is amazing. So without further ado, tell me how you started with your amazing career.
Blimey, so how do I live up to that intro? Do you know, I think I've thoroughly enjoyed my career. I always wanted to go into fashion design from age 11. I've got a little sketchbook at home that I did even then. My mum was a seamstress, so I saw her sewing and putting clothes onto people. I probably pinned up hems for her and studied fashion at Nottingham. And then I had a lucky break, started my first job at Next as a designer and pattern cutter, and worked with the founder, George Davis, who was incredibly inspirational. Always, innovating, putting customers and product first, and never taking no for an answer. He always said there's no such word as can't, Fiona, which I genuinely believe in as well. There's always a way to do something. And when he left Next and started George at ASDA, I went with him. So that was just incredible to be part of something that was, really groundbreaking, the first supermarket fashion range. And I was there for 10 years, had my kids there. And then I got invited to go back to Next as their women's wear director. And I was so grateful for everything I'd learned. But I thought, I do want to stand on my own 2 feet and not always be someone that's seen as George's, number 2 or sidekick. So it was an amazing opportunity for me to go to Next, and I ran their women's wear for 7 years. And very bizarrely then, I got invited to go back to George. He'd left around the same time as me, and it lost its way. And they said, we want you to come and be the new George and turn it round. So I was there for, another 7 years, started George Home as well. Had an incredible time there. Did a very brief stint on food, which I decided wasn't for me, up at ASDA. And then went to run the product offer at Dunelm for 2 years, which I love doing as well. I love my interiors as well as my fashion. Did a startup brand for River Island, which was an incredible opportunity. Having worked with George doing a startup was something I'd always wanted to do. And then COVID hit. So I did get a call because, like every business, they were cutting costs, and a startup brand wasn't, a great investment. So I took that time out and studied life coaching, because I always really enjoyed coaching, mentoring people, and then got the opportunity to be the MD of Jaeger when M&S bought it. So that was my last job, which I left about a year and a half ago.
Wow. Where can we start to unpick this? So as somebody who's very interested in business, quite entrepreneurial myself, I always look at people who are doing things in this space. And again, these are brands that are known, loved, amazing. I'm somebody who's a one-man band, and I always think team collaboration is amazing, and that's definitely the space I need to be moving into. So I'm always interested to hear stories about how teams are started, especially with startups. So George is the one that interests me the most, because now every single supermarket has a fashion brand, but George at ASDA was the one that, and I remember growing up always looking at George at ASDA. And now with my little girl, I always buy stuff from George at ASDA for her, little t-shirts, baby grows. It's my favourite place to go for her of all the supermarket brands. And I'm not just saying it, I promise you. So what were those early days like?
Wow, it was 17 of us in a funny little office. I think it used to be an accountant's office, so it wasn't very fashiony at all. And I think we put up a shower curtain as our changing room to do all the fittings in. And there was, as I said, there was just a kettle. It was all very, very unsophisticated, but 17 people who were really, passionate. And I think certainly the art of what George did, but also I learned, was to start with the customer. And, the reality is that people were going into ASDA and they, didn't mean they didn't want style or they didn't want great fabrics, but they, wanted to buy something that was slightly more affordable. So the aspiration was always, and still is, I believe, at George, to create stuff that actually people are really proud to wear, but doesn't cost the earth. So I took as much pride, and I think actually as a designer, it takes as much skill to design something that is affordable and desirable for 100,000 people as it is for an elite designer to design something that's suitable for 10 people. I mean, it's different skill sets, but they are still, skill sets I think are really important.
Of course, yeah, because you've got to hit that, that one dress that everybody knows and loves and is dying to jump into George and go and get.
Yeah,
absolutely. Okay, so, and then Dunelm again is somewhere that I absolutely love, but again, so now you've gone from fashion and now you've gone into interiors. Was that a big shift for you?
I think if you enjoy design, which I do, and I'd like to think one of my skills is I'm really creative. I can... actually, the art is knowing what somebody wants to buy before they buy it. So, so actually, you take on, it's a bit of a magic ball. You take on trends that are coming in, you take on history, you take on film releases.
Where is your inspiration coming from? If you like to, future trends, try to predict future trends or future house trends or whatever, where are you taking your inspiration from?
It is being a human sponge. I mean, whether it is a latest film that comes out or it's exhibitions, the Chanel exhibition that was on at the V&A, which, did you get to it?
No,
it was just incredible. And I always go to those. A year on, there will always be the Chanel trends. So, knowing what the exhibitions are, they have a huge impact. As I said, films, pop stars, you have to be a sponge, like I said, and take every single bit of it on. And then knowing your brand and who you're working for, how do you interpret it for them? So there is a sort of...
How do you give them the best quality at the most affordable price?
Exactly. And something that's wearable for them. Because, actually, ASDA's a very broad brush, so is Next, and so is Dunelm actually. But, you'll be catering for somebody who might want a shabby chic trend. That might be a large percentage of the customers there, or somebody who wants the sort of latest trend. And it's working out, how are you going to do those trends in the right way for those customers? So it sounds like a bit of a dark art, but I absolutely relish doing it.
It does, but also incredible. So Fiona, according to you, what are we going to be wearing next year?
Oh, gosh. I'm probably the wrong person to ask now, because I'm honestly a great believer in buying the style for you, actually. And particularly now, I think we're all trying to buy less and buy better. Cost of living does mean, we haven't got money to spend. There is an incredible amount of clothing going into landfill as well now. Yeah. So I'm sort of conscious of that. And I'm genuinely encourage people to find your own style and buy stuff in your own style, because then it never dates. I've got these shoes. I'm going to have to show my shoes there. These are
incredible.
They're Prada shoes that I bought, I'm going to say something like 18 to 20 years ago.
Wow.
And they have stood the test of time. I do think style more than fashion is what's important, and knowing your style. And I think it's quite interesting, because that's the one thing I do wish, confidence on people. I do think that is a really important thing to give you confidence, knowing what your style is.
Yeah, 100%. And buying classic pieces that are never going to date. I'm a big believer in that, especially when it comes to handbags and shoes. Like that you can try and, this is a black bag that's never really going to date. Whereas, I'm totally kind of against fast fashion brands. I've turned down many of opportunities to do stuff with them, in-person events and things like that. I just got myself in trouble because I was committed to an event and then I pulled out of it because I was like, no, I'm not doing it. But there's too many fast fashion brands. Because we are a sustainable brand, and I really do go on about it.
Yeah. No, so it says a lot about somebody, I think.
I've got to walk the walk in every way. An incredible career, like I said. And then Jaeger. So that was a brand that was big in my mum's era. And then I didn't really hear about it again. Did it go into administration?
It did, yes.
And then
M&S
bought it back.
Yeah.
And I just remember everyone going on about Jaeger. because the fabrics were very good. It was that like, I don't know, the price point was a lot higher. Well, kind of high for high street, wasn't it? And it's that must have been. Are they still trying to revive that now?
Yeah. So when did I go there? So I left a year and a half ago. I was there for 2 years. So that's when M&S bought it. And actually, listen, I think it's brilliant that the brand has gone on to live on. I mean, because I was part of studying fashion, you do fashion history. And I was incredibly proud actually to get a chance to work on Jaeger. I mean, it was 130 odd years old. And, I had these incredible archives to go back into and reinvent. It's just such a treasured brand. And as you say, everybody's got a fond memory of it, but it was always my mum wore it or my gran wore it. So I thought I had a fabulous chance to be involved in something going, actually, if my daughter could wear it or I could wear it and still feel amazing. So, I was really proud to get the opportunity. And I coined the phrase at the time, actually, because I felt a responsibility that, having Jaeger, I was creating tomorrow's vintage. Yeah. So I wanted to create things that somebody would be able to wear in 50 years' time in the same way that somebody wore, could still wear some of the old camel coats, etc. Yeah. So, no, it's doing well in M&S. And when I was there, we launched it internationally. I got a chance to rebrand it and create a new store environment. So I had a chance to do all sorts of creative things that I hadn't had a chance to do before. So it was a great way for me to finish my career in fashion, actually, albeit I'm still doing a bit of consultancy, and I still think there's opportunities, which we'll probably talk about actually, on sportswear for women that are a bit older, but I think there's a massive gap. But it was when I left, I thought, I think I've done the biggest and best job actually, and I'm ready to think about new adventures now.
Yeah, I personally have seen myself 100% change. Now I am interested in better fabrics, better quality, better cuts. I spend a lot more on a dress than I ever would do. Although I'm really into like buying pre-loved and vintage and whatever. I went to ASDA on Friday and I wore a Dior dress, which was so tight. Like it was an 8. I was like, I'm never getting this up on my boobs. Anyway, I did. Got it up. Couldn't breathe all day. But this was a pre-loved dress, that would have been absolutely astronomical.
Oh, incredible, yeah.
I got it at an absolute steal.
Oh,
I don't mind telling you. So, but I'm somebody who's now got to the age of 38 and I'm more interested in being that more conscious consumer. And I just was never bothered about it when I was younger. So
I think it's interesting because people do ask me about sustainability, and I do think people like to think it's sustainable, but it is really difficult to change people's shopping habits. Yeah, and particularly younger people, actually. I
think Instagram. It's Instagram for me that makes me buy stuff. It's actually, I would say, it's my number one worst habit. I'm always buying clothes, like always buying clothes. Like, boxes and boxes arrive, like self-portrait dresses and this, that, and the other, and it's to the point where sometimes it makes me feel sick because I think I bought more clothes again and I can't almost help myself. And I have to stop myself sometimes and think, why do I need a new dress for every single occasion? You know what I mean? It should be styling them up different.
I think what we should do though, when you get that feeling, you should say, I'm going to have a look at it again tomorrow. And if I still want it tomorrow, because I do think it's a sort of
dopamine hit.
It is, it's a dopamine hit, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm sending 2 dresses back. Oh. Yes, 100%. Yeah. There you go. So, okay, so you're somebody who I'm definitely going to be asking a lot of style questions from you later on. But I want to get to kind of like the latter half of your life. And we've got a book on the table right now that you have authored. And so when did you write this?
Wow. So if you'd have asked me, actually, shall I hold up?
Yeah, absolutely.
So this literally, this literally is the first copy off the press.
I'm honoured to be the first one to see it.
I did say, I'm speaking to Elissa, I need a copy, and this literally is the first copy off the press. So I left M&S and Jaeger at the end, let me just write, December 22, beginning, and so January the 1st, my PT had challenged me to say, and I do like a challenge and a goal, had challenged me to say, look, you're already really fit. You don't realise how inspiring it is already that you're fit. But why don't we get you into your absolute fittest for your 60th birthday, which was the beginning of March 2023. So I thought, that's a great goal, a personal goal for myself. So I took it on and I changed my diet. I exercised more. But it was lots of other little things like walking 10,000 steps a day, cold showers, the 2 litres of water, and I did actually arrange a photo shoot because we said actually it'd be a great story for a fitness magazine. So I arranged a photo shoot. So that kept me on the straight and narrow.
For sure. When you've got that pressure.
Exactly. Yeah. I thought, right, I'm going to be photographed. And I did actually, which I never envisaged would be seen by anybody in public, but I did some before photos just to monitor myself actually. So so it came to my birthday and I think I'd lost 11 pounds and 5% body fat.
Wow.
So which you really, 5% you really notice.
Yeah.
And sent this story off. Anyway, it didn't get picked up. But a Times journalist who knows us said, I think the Times will be interested in covering it. So we sent it to the Times. And on May the 12th last year, it got covered by the Times as to how to get into your best shape at 60. And it went viral. I couldn't believe it. So it started appearing on Facebook and Instagram sponsored posts by the Times. Wow. And then before I knew it, I had all of my friends texting me going, you're just coming up on our Apple News feed. There was 3 stories. I clearly remember at the time because I think I did a screenshot of it was the Russian war, 17% inflation and Fiona Lambert at 60.
Wow.
So I was sort of pinching myself. And then I got a call from somebody who used to work for me next a long time ago, a lovely lady called Carolyn. And she said they work as publishers in the wellbeing space and they thought my story would be really inspiring for everybody. And I've still probably got a bit of imposter syndrome because I don't ever think I'm inspiring. I do it, I do it for myself, really.
Yeah.
So she said, would you write a book? So I thought, well, I'm doing lots of hopefully inspirational, motivational things on Instagram posts because I like life coaching. Yeah. So I thought, I'll have a go and handed it over last Christmas, and it is quite a long process, longer than you think actually. And I did, actually I will have to flick through it actually. I did want to make sure it was colourful and interesting because people who are on Instagram who like reading snippets don't want something that's a great big tome and difficult to do. But it's got a bit about my background because I've used a lot of the techniques and management strategies that I would have done in business to help me, first of all, find a purpose, because I do think people fall off the wagon too easily if they haven't got a purpose that actually holds them to their goals. It tells you about how to plan and prepare, tells you about perseverance and digging deep. You've got to find your people around you to support you, and then about being positive. And then it does go on to, I've got exercise, I've got diet, and then a little bit about styling at the end about, for the new you. So hopefully it's really an engaging read. But the key for me was I felt bad that I never said my age. Right. And why it's called Invincible Not Invisible is because I didn't want to say I was 60. And I thought, why is that? Why is this sort of stigma? And I think it is because when you're younger, you think, 60 is old. And I thought, well, actually, I if I can be a role model out there going, actually 60 is just the beginning. And actually, as it turned out, I left a job, started a new career. I wrote a book. I climbed Kilimanjaro last year. I've suddenly found myself an influencer, which I never intended to do. I'm out there going, 60 is literally just a number. It's not a number you should be ashamed of. It's a number you should be actually go, I've got hopefully another 30 years and I want to make those, a brilliant 30 years that I'm carrying on learning and carrying on doing new things and hopefully making sure I'm a good role model for that.
100%. I'll just tell you that I'm somebody who looks at life coaching and I'm just like, oh my God. There are some people out there, I am just like, they are stealing a living. But with you, I would literally, I'm not blowing smoke up your bum, but I've spoke about you on this podcast loads of times, because you were somebody that, again, like I would 100% take whatever you say as like gospel, because you've lived it, you've walked it. You are somebody who was a doer before you then go and telling other people how to do it. You've done it. So I'm going to sit there and listen to that, where there's so many other life coaches out there who I'm like, sorry, what have you done? Like, have you walked the path I'm walking? Well, then no, sorry, you know what I mean? And there's so many of them, it seems to have been an explosion. But when you've got someone like you who's had a glittering career, you've been the top of your game, then you've gone to other companies and gone right back to basics again, and then got to the top of your game, brought those companies up, made them successful. You've had one of the most successful careers of any woman I know. And then now you've decided, no, I want to go into life coaching to help other people. And you've got these strategies in the background. Incredible. I'm going to listen to all of that. And then not only that, you're living and walking the walk in terms of your health, fitness, wellness, all of it, you know?
Well, thank you,
and I think that you are like the one to watch, especially in that category. Like I said, I spoke about you so many times on this podcast, and then I saw you do Kilimanjaro with another friend of mine, Coral, and I was like, oh my God, there's Fiona, she's amazing. But yeah, I think it's incredible. So how was writing the book for you? How was that journey?
Yeah, so do you know, I learned lots doing it actually, and as I've said, I think that's one of the important things is, it's never too late and you're never too old. And I keep saying that, whether it is about learning new things or setting yourself goals. So, I was used to writing business presentations. So it was a little bit, I knew and I did a structure of how to do it. And I had the poor publishers actually, and Cam and Carolyn have been amazing with me because they've gone with me, because I suppose it's a bit like when I have designed things, I knew what I wanted the end thing to look like.
Right.
So, I could see a swatch of fabric and I could imagine what the dress was going to look like. But you had to go through the designing it, the pattern cutting, the sewing it to get the end result. So what was quite interesting, the minute we started talking about the book, I knew what I wanted it to look like. I wanted it to be colourful and have bigger pictures and smaller pictures and quotes in it that pulled out, and so that it's not just a boring read. And actually, there's a quiz in it as well. Have you ever, when you were younger, did you used to do the quizzes in magazines that you go, I don't know if you're going on a date, is it A, B, C or D?
Oh, yeah.
I just thought we all love doing quizzes. So there's a quiz in it as well to see if you're ready to do, get you in the right mindset. Because 100% the point of the book is going, actually, you have to get in the right mindset first.
That's not wrong, because people think they've bought the book, they've almost like done it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They think, oh, well, I've bought it.
Yeah.
How many times have I done that, by the way? Like, bought a book and I'm like, yeah, well, I've got that book. I've only read 10 pages of it. Do you know what I mean?
Well, as I said, hopefully it's engaged, because it's quite funny. I showed somebody and they skipped straight to the exercise. They said, oh, we'll go straight to this. And I said, well, hang on a second. The whole point of it is you have to get yourself in the right mindset first, because, just to want to be, look like someone on Instagram, it's not going to happen, So you have got to get this, get your preparation, and then it is sustainable.
Yeah.
So I kind of go, give me 90 days. Give me 90 days, and then that is your new lifestyle.
Well, 3 people at the moment I'm keeping accountable. 2 are my customers, and 1 is one of my friends who I'm like checking with me every day. They take pictures of their food every day and send it to me, and I'm like I just check up on them. Yeah, make sure they're doing it.
It is.
And then they actually are, because they know they're accountable to me, and I'll start shouting at them if they're not.
No, well, that 4th P was people, because you've got to have your friends.
Got to have people around you, and if you haven't got that around you, this is the other thing with a lot of people is their support network, let's say, I don't know, their partner is not wanting to get healthy. And then they've read your book, and we'll go into kind of like what's your diet, lifestyle, what's in the book basically. But if you haven't got the right kind of friendship group or partner, it's Apologies for interrupting this podcast, but I need to ask a favour. If you're enjoying this podcast so far, then please hit that subscribe button right now. I'll be straight up and honest that I want to see this podcast grow and flourish into something that I'm really proud of. And the only way that I can do that is with your help. So if you've ever learned anything useful from these conversations, then please return the favour by liking, rating, subscribing, and maybe even sharing it with your friends. Thanks very much. Let's get back to the episode. Not setting yourself up for the win, is it?
It is.
We'll just have a drink. We'll just have a drink. We're having a Saturday night. It's Saturday night. You can have one. You've been good all week. And it's, no, I'm sorry, I'm not doing it. 90 days, you've got to do it clean. And actually for the rest of your life. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because I mean, hopefully I'm proof that, because the photo shoot for my birthday was a year and 3 months ago.
Yeah.
So what's interesting is, hopefully I'm still in the same shape. So it shows it is sustainable. It is about a lifestyle. But there are things like I gave up all sugar, and I'm not saying everybody has to do that, but the book is about what I did, and I gave up sugar for 9 weeks in every form. So that was lactose, fructose, and sucrose. So I gave up dairy. What's interesting, I could never drink black coffee before, but for those 9 weeks, I drank black coffee, and actually now I drink.
Now you only drink. I only drink
black coffee. Because I kind of go, well, I know, it's only small, but by the end of the day, you've probably got 100 calories extra in milk and it's got sugar in it. So I thought, okay, that's just one tiny little thing. One of those, I'm saying everything is all by increments. All these little things add up. Walking the extra steps. I do make sure if I haven't done my 10,000 steps, I'll do it. So they are great habits that, okay, not all of them will stick, but all of those tiny little changes do add up.
Yeah, 100%. I did exactly the same thing. So after my pregnancy, I went to a gym and I said, I want to get in shape, I want to get this baby weight off. So it was 4 months after my cesarean, and I was ready to get back into it. And I've got my before and afters. I did exactly the same thing. I did 90 days, 3 times a week. I did strength training. And then I was accountable to my PT all the time. Sounds very, very similar. And I was like 10,000 steps no matter what.
Yeah.
But actually in my head, I was trying to go for 12 every day. And how do you get in those extra steps? Well, I parked my car further away, so that I had to go further across the car park. Yeah, no, I'll go and get that for you. I'm running up downstairs all the time. Do you know what I mean? It was just those little things, because it's like, I do spend a lot of time sitting down, sedentary, driving here, there and everywhere, sitting down, do the podcast, sitting down in work. It's hard to get those steps in. So you have to consciously think about it. But what a bloody difference.
Yeah. It's all about choice. All about choice.
I feel like you're somebody who's very strong-minded though, as am I. And once you set that goal, you're after it. You're going for it.
Yes, I think, I know people just, is driven a bad word. People go, you're very driven.
Yeah.
But I do think genuinely, when people started to message me though and go, you've really helped me. And I get lots of, like I said, I never set out to do this, but I do get lovely direct messages from people who going, either they'd lost their confidence or they've got divorced or, something's happened in their life. And I do think a lot of women at 45, 50, their children have gone, they've always put them at the front. Maybe they've put on, weight with menopause. And I kind of go, it's too late to do anything. And actually, like I said, I want to go, it isn't too late.
Yeah.
And actually just start. It's sometimes and you've seen what I post on, Instagram. Half of it is kitchen work-out, because I go, if you do nothing else, you can do a few push-ups, against the kitchen work surface. Just start. And once you started, you start to like it and you start to see the difference, and it becomes a real motivation. Actually,
it does.
So, but it is just taking those first steps. But it's interesting you say about this, finding the time and choices. People go to me, you must exercise all the time. And I go, well, actually I don't. I do 2 1-hour sessions with a PT. And then I probably do 4 15-minute HIIT sessions a week. So that's 3 hours in total. That I could be, if probably some days, if I look at my Instagram, sorry, I'm confessing here, you might find you spent 3 hours on social media. So it is just a choice of, do I do 15 minutes HIIT training that's my future self is going to thank me for? I'm going to feel happier. I'm going to feel confident. I'm going to feel good in my clothes. I'll be able to walk upstairs when I'm 80. Do I do that 50 minutes, or do I sit and scroll through Instagram 50 minutes?
It totally is just that mindset, and almost trying to get yourself around people who are also on that train. And I feel like if you've got friendships who are not on your wavelength and you've got a partner who's not on of your wavelength, I'm not saying you have to get a divorce. I'm just saying maybe you need to expose yourself to some people that are on that wavelength if that's what you want. And this is what I say to my customers all the time. I'm like, and they just feel overwhelmed. They don't know where to start. And I'm like, well, just start doing 10,000 steps then. Just start there.
Exactly.
That'd be better.
Exactly.
If you're only doing 5 today, try and do 10 tomorrow.
Yeah.
Just start there and do that for a week.
And it's not, I think it's interesting, because there are some fabulous inspirational fitness influencers, but I know sometimes it can be even intimidating to watch them because they look great, and I was kind of going, well, number one, obviously I, do show my before and after, but, I am showing, hopefully it's not, I'm not doing it every single day and I've not given up, having times with my family and eating pizzas, it's just in moderation, obviously it's the 80-20 rule. I genuinely want to inspire people to go, this is just a choice, and I could be a little bit fitter tomorrow. Actually, we were just discussing earlier. I've never been to one before. I went to a fitness camp for a week, and actually they talked a lot about just be 1% better every day. And I think that is, for something where you've got a goal that looks too scary.
That's a 365% better.
It is.
In
So
a year.
just be 1% better. And that does, if it is go from 5,000 steps to 6,000 steps, or one less sugar in your tea, or, so all of those tiny little things will make you 1% better.
100%. And I always say you're the sum total of the 5 people you spend most time with. Maybe you need to find a new 5. And I tell you what, my God, you'd radically change. If you were, anybody listening to this, if you were hanging around with 5 of me and Fiona's, I guarantee you'd look significantly different in 3 months' time.
Yeah.
Significantly different.
And feel a lot more positive.
Of course. That's the absolute byproduct of it all. And you start feeling amazing. As you said, you only work out for 3 hours a week. So we know that probably the most gains are going to come from actually what you're not putting in your mouth.
Yes.
So talk to me about diet, and what does your diet look like now?
Yeah. So I've always had a fairly high protein, low carb diet. I think I went on some diet, 20 years ago, and I found it worked well for my body. And there is a bit of, actually, I'm a great proponent of some things work better for some people. People ask if I intermittent fast. I don't. So my diet is I do make a note of what my natural calorie intake would be, and counterbalance it with by adding on the exercise. So I know enough about calories that I am making sure I don't take too many calories in per day. So one of my biggest tips is, if you don't know it, work out how many calories you can burn in a day. Yeah. And secondly, don't go over it. And if you
how tall are you, Fiona?
I'm 5'6".
Okay, 5'6". So I'm 5'7", and I have the same rule. I stick to 1,600. There or thereabouts, 1,650. I know I look great at that. I stay fine, maintain. I can go on holiday tomorrow and not have to worry about what I'm looking like in a bikini. Yeah. If I want to lean up on that, it means I need to do more walking, more exercise. That's all I need to do. 2 things. But if I stay at 1,600, that was very important to me in those 3 months, like losing the weight. So that's rule number 1. Yeah. Okay. So rule number 1 is try and work out your calorie intake. Yeah. And the 2,000 rule that we hear, average daily woman. Yeah. No, who is the average daily woman?
Exactly. Listen, the reality is as well, you burn less calories as you get older. Now, I think that some of that, and I'll come on to that, is to do with muscle mass, because you tend to lose your muscle mass as you get older, which is another reason why exercise and weight-bearing exercises are really important, because the more muscle mass you have, the more calories you'll burn. So generally, maybe the 2,000 calories per day was set up for 18-year-old ladies, but certainly I'm the same as you. I can't have anywhere near that. So I used Noom actually as an app, but I know people use MyFitnessPal. There's other apps that people use. So there'll be an app out there somewhere for you that will help you calculate what your basic calories are needed. And most of them add on your exercise as well. So yes, if you want to maintain weight, know what your calories are. If you want to lose weight, you need to be in calorie deficit. Yeah. And then obviously, try and burn more than you consume. Yeah. So again, whether it is using a gadget, I've got one here, so I know how many calories I'm burning. But if as you say, if you're moving more, walking your 10,000 steps, you are going to be burning those. I love HIIT training. I'm a big proponent of HIIT training because in 15 minutes, you can burn a lot of calories and it raises your metabolic rate for hours afterwards.
Yeah.
So that's a great way.
It's a good way to massage your heart as well.
Oh,
and
fabulous.
And the other thing, I was listening to Peter Attia's podcast, and he was saying in females especially, your lungs shrink as you get older. So you need to be you need to be getting like your VO2 max up. You need to be massaging your heart by doing cardio, high intensity cardio. Again, people just shy away from it.
But I think, listen, there's lots of fabulous videos on YouTube to do HIIT training, and it's out there for beginners as well. So again, don't feel intimidated. You can do HIIT training for beginners, and then you can start adding weights as you get more experience, or you can up the number of minutes you do it. So I'm a big proponent of HIIT training. Yeah. So know your calorie intake. If you want to lose weight, go into calorie deficit. Burn those calories. Make sure you're burning those. And then I have switched my diet and increased the amount of protein. And again, not for everybody, but certainly, I think as you age as a woman, as I said, to maintain muscle mass, you want to have a higher percentage of muscle to fat. So try to change that percentage by more exercise. And having a high protein diet maintains that muscle mass.
This is the other interesting thing. I literally had this conversation with my PT last week. He said, because I said, I've been coming here for nearly 2 years. Nearly 2 years I've been going there. I said, how much muscle mass do you think I've put on in that time? He went, 1 pound maybe. I went, yeah, there you go. Now, I haven't been consistent with it all the time for 2 years, but the amount of muscle mass you actually put on, what you're basically doing is making sure you're not losing it. Yeah. That's what I'm basically doing. I'm maintaining every time. I would have to be in a huge volume of food to be putting on, which I don't want to do. No. I'm stressed about that. So yeah, if I was going into stepping on stage, it'd be completely different. So when women say, I'm going to bulk up, it's just a complete myth. You would struggle to put on muscle mass because you are losing it all the time. And I say to everybody, you've got to be weight training. So I'm glad you've said that. Sorry. Just wanted to interject.
Well, like I said, it's, I mean, I can't think of a bad reason for doing it because, like I said, you're going to be stronger. It raises your metabolic rate. Muscle actually burns more calories than fat. So the more muscle you have, the better your metabolic rate is going to be.
Yeah, because it's living tissue and it requires more energy just to sit there in your body.
And it's interesting, because I'm probably... I am more muscular, and I think there's a lot of debate about, is it attractive? Is it not attractive? Is it feminine? I kind of go each to your own.
Me personally, I think it's very attractive, especially your arms. I fucking love them. I sit here on every podcast, by the way. Zoom in on my arms right now. So at 59, I'm probably 62 kilos right now, but at 59, my arms look great. I can see, I can start seeing loads more definition and my delts, my arms, wherever. And I'm not at the moment. I'm about 62, so I've got a little bit of work to do. But I think it's so sexy. I think it looks
good. Well,
I think there's nothing, because people love working out their bums. The younger generation, Kim Kardashian's got a lot to answer for. I'm somebody who's never even fired my glutes. They're just flat. They don't want to do what I want them to do. But my arms, I'm a bit of a hyper responder, and I think you are a hyper responder on your arms too.
And I do go to people, actually, there is some genetics in here. So if I look at my my aunt and my daughter, actually, we've all got exactly the same genetics. But I think what's interesting, I spoke to somebody only last week saying, they'd had a sort of a big change and they had plateaued. And I do think, again, that's quite interesting, a bit like you saying, how much have you changed at the gym? I think if you hit a muscle mass and you want to maintain it, you sort of do lots of reps with a lower weight. But if you want to change your shape again, you have to increase the weights and do slightly lower reps. You can play with it, So I did get to a point where I thought, actually, genetically I form muscle quite easily, but I don't want to be bigger than this. I like how I am. So, you work out the right thing to maintain. And then if you plateau again, you can switch it up. So I think variety is the spice of life. I mean, at 61, and I've, as I said, I've done a lot of exercise. I do like experimenting. I like trying different things. You know, I've just tried reformer Pilates. I actually tried pole dancing. Wasn't for me. I came away very bruised, but I thought
very bruised. I hate that. Yeah.
I wanted to have a go. I'm always thinking about what's the next sport to have a go at. I tried parkour a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, you're going to find something you like.
Yeah, and I think you got to do it all, because you've got to, hip mobility.
Yeah,
that's something you've got to keep on with. I had a lady here who's like obsessed with hip mobility and mobility, and she's absolutely right. She's like, you wouldn't even dream of getting up and not putting moisturiser on your face, would you? She went, well, hip mobility is moisturiser for your joints.
Good way of looking at it.
So she says, you've got to be doing, Elissa, 5 minutes, getting those, and I don't. And obviously I'm sitting down all the time, shortening those hip flexors. And mine are so tight anyway. And I know I sit here, I know what I should be doing. I should be doing yoga, stretching.
Me too.
I mean, I've just booked in. Yeah, I've just booked in with my PT again. And I've just paid for another month's sessions. It's just me finding the time to get. Because by the way, the PT I go to is 1 hour away from my house. So
that's
an hour
dedication,
there, an hour back, and an hour. So it's a 3 hour.
Yeah, that is dedication.
Yeah, it is a 3 hour round trip just for me to go to the gym.
I don't know if I've said this to you, Elissa. So my next goal, though, sorry, and I always put these out there because I believe in manifestation, is I want to be on Strictly Come Dancing.
Oh, wow. I'd love you to be on Strictly Come Dancing.
So I've actually, my ringtone, so I hope my phone doesn't go, my ringtone is the Strictly Come Dancing theme. So I need that hip mobility because I'm going to be doing those high kicks. I've got to be out there. So
okay, so we need some really good, outstanding press and PR from this sport.
Yeah,
absolutely. Which I just know is good.
That's the next goal.
Yeah, I just know it's going to come. So, so what does your diet kind of look like and consist of? So it's higher protein.
Yeah, so I get up every morning. I probably have a lot of eggs. So I mix eggs with egg whites, which is a great way of. Looks like a bigger plate because you can have a lot of egg whites, much lower calories than egg. So I'll have scrambled eggs. I'll have it with mushrooms. I'll have it with salmon. I eat a lot of seafood, a lot of salmon and prawns, etc. Great for omega-3, which has got all sorts of benefits for your joints and for your skin
and your brain.
So big proponent of make sure you have lots of omega-3. I'll have salmon or chicken for lunch with salad, and I will have again meat, fish and vegetables for dinner. There are some healthy swaps, so I must make it sound like I don't have any carb at all. So one of the things I learned when I was doing my sort of diet for my 60th was to have quinoa and lentils because they are higher in protein than any like rices or anything. So
do you know what my big win is, guys? Bulgur wheat.
Ah, okay.
Bulgur wheat with a stock cube in. So quinoa, I have them on rotation. So I don't have rice. Yeah. I have quinoa, bulgur wheat, and what was the third one? Lentils.
Yes. Well, it's good. It's good to have those swaps. I mean, I love a fillet steak, and but venison's got something like a third of the fat of a fillet steak. So it's just knowing some of those things that are quite easy. So you don't have to starve yourself.
No, I feel like we could go for lunch and we'd be ordering the same thing. This is music to my ears, absolutely.
Sorry, I should actually say, because I'm making it sound very virtuous. Actually, a very healthy swap, though, I found out was Chablis has only got 90 calories a glass versus other wines have got 120. So that was, because it's much drier. So that was a...
What about rosé? It's the only one I go in for.
I don't think so. I think that's probably a bit sweeter.
Very sugary. Yeah. I don't really drink, to be honest. No. But we've had a couple of ladies' lunches coming up and I've gone, okay, go on. And I went to Ascot, so I had a couple there. But I try not to drink at all because, again, that is one way. And then you're down a slippery slope.
It is sugar as well.
And then if you have too many, tomorrow, the next day, you're just craving like junk food. Yeah. I know I am. It's just almost impossible to stay on track by doing that. Okay, so that's our diet lockdown, our exercise lockdown. And then do you do anything for like mindfulness or journaling or anything like that?
Oh, now you strike me as very active as well. Probably not my forte. Do you know what I've worked out probably I'm going to say meditation is, and actually I shouldn't do the inverted fingers thing because I think it's meditation. I do love walking. And somebody said to me, actually, if you walk without music and you take in what's going on, whether it's the birds or hearing the trees. That is mindfulness, and you are finding space. So I definitely, one of my goals after being away last week was to try and find more time to be more mindful and to find bits of silence actually. So I do definitely believe in. Whether it actually probably isn't journaling, but I definitely believe in writing your goals down.
Yeah.
And also your future goals, because I think, and then I also believe in telling people them, because that's what I've said about going on street.
Yeah.
Because I think again that, if you want things to happen in your life, I think part of it is making it real, making it a real thing. So that's the sort of journaling I do is, writing down ideas, writing down thoughts, hopes, dreams, aspirations, and, believing they're going to happen and making them real.
I'm a big believer in that. While I'm not like a vision board, quote unquote manifestation, all of that woo. I write it down. I put it on the wall if I really want it. And then we're like, right, every day I'm like, what have we done on this today?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like, let's check back in and make sure we're actually moving towards it. It's a smart decision. And again, I wanted to, when I was with my PT, we sit down, 3 months, what's it going to look like? What does achievement look like? Yeah. Whether it's, how much chest press can I do? Whatever it will be, whatever. I wanted to do pull-ups.
Yeah,
that was one of my goals because that's really hard for a woman. So hard. There's only like 2% of women in the world that can do it. So that was a goal I wanted. Writing it down, committing to it, and then checking back in with it all the time, rereading it. Yeah. That's just a
I do
smart
think
move.
whether it's goals or how you want to live your life. You mentioned about you are the people you spend the 5 people you spend most time with. One of the things when I've had more time to think is actually, and I do think it comes with age, is saying no more often. So I do think whether it is spending time with the wrong people, but equally doing things that aren't leading to where you want to be.
I wouldn't spend time with anybody if that was the case. Christ almighty, the amount of times I have to get dragged to stuff and I'm like, oh my God, this is so like you said far away from what I want to be doing right now.
But I do think, I do say it comes with age, and you are a lot younger with me, and I've got, maybe I've got the joy of doing that. Yeah. But I think, you've made a huge success of your business and it is very purpose-led, which is amazing. But you described, I think if you keep checking in at your goals and making sure you're not getting distracted by things that aren't leading towards that, I do think that is a really good tip for people to go, is this, whether it is wanting to be healthier or fitter or is this going to help me reach my goal?
That is literally something that I do sometimes. Let's say I've starved myself all day because I've been rushing around, I've not eaten. And then Starbucks tell me they've got no egg bites, which is like my go-to if I'm on the road, right? Because it's 142 calories of egg whites with a bit of pepper or whatever, right? So that is my go-to with the black coffee. This happened this morning. We haven't got anything in, Elissa. We've only got pastries. I was like, oh, Christ. That's it. I won't, because I was literally looking at the menu. I was thinking, is anything on there going to push me towards where I want to be or away?
That's a good question.
Literally. Yeah. And if you can do that, we sound really virtuous, but also I am quite strict and I do sacrifice a lot of, like we go to Danny's grandma's on a Sunday morning and I will have a black coffee because I'm like, I don't want bacon. And I don't want this and I don't want that. And I'm like, I can't get involved with everybody, but I'm like, no, it's going to take me away from what I want, which is I'm going to step on those scales from a PT on Monday and is it going to have gone up or down? And if it's gone up and I'm not getting closer to where we want to be, I'll be sad about it and I'll be fuming with myself and, so. Yeah.
But I do think, like you said, it is the 80-20 rule. There is, I think if you can be good 80% of the time, you can enjoy yourself and let your hair down 20% of the time. But I always go, if you've had one day, it isn't a bad life as well. No. So you've got to go, that was yesterday, I can start again tomorrow, as opposed to going, it's all gone wrong and, just going back to how you were. So it's a good reminder just to go, okay, I've had that, but I'm back on the horse this morning.
For sure. So this is the first copy of your book.
Yes.
Where can people buy it?
So its actual launch is August the 12th.
Okay.
But it is on pre-order on Amazon, on WH Smith and Waterston. So
Well done, you.
very exciting.
Because people say they're writing a book and then it's just like, yeah, they just, they get the 100 copies of it.
I am pinching myself a little bit. I am pinching myself a bit. So,
how exciting that you're going to do a book launch.
Yes. So got a book launch in October.
Mm-hmm.
We are having it at Tom Kerridge's restaurant, which is fab in
Gorgeous.
London. Yeah. So hopefully lots of fabulous people will be there. I've had some great friends endorse it. So Kay Adams, Andrew McLean, Gemma Shepherd have all had a look at it and they've endorsed it. Great friends who are very supportive, but actually know that there's some really, really good tips in here.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. It's going to become my new Bible for sure. I can't wait.
That.
I can't wait to see it. Okay, brilliant. Well, Fiona, you're definitely somebody that I follow very closely. And I think everybody listening to this podcast also should follow you. So where can we find you?
So I'm on Fiona Lambert Official on both Instagram and Facebook and TikTok, actually. I don't do too much on TikTok, but hopefully Instagram's the one I put most on. So take a look. Hopefully it is fun as well as helping you be healthier and happier.
Well, you're a very inspirational lady. I'm definitely going to be messaging you with style advice and workout advice. And yeah, hopefully we can go and do a workout together soon.
That would be fun. Thank you.
Thank you so much for chatting today, Fiona.
No, thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.